Hello and welcome back to a new lesson, to the second part of our point of interest customization. So again, I'm going to click on play to see where we are. I'm going to click on surroundings, and in the last lesson, we've created 2 points of interest. We've added the POI manager, and we said in this lesson we want to learn how we can customize these even further, add more lists, and so on. Now, I want you to ignore this for now, but if you don't want to see that message, the section cut, basically what's the blueprint is asking us is, hey, can you add this actor, the blueprint clipping plane on top of your building? That's it. So if you simply add it to the level, we will not see that error anymore when we click on these points of interest. So you can keep that in mind. Now, what I'm going to do is to add a third point of interest. Let's say this one, surroundings here, and I'm going to set its settings. So we can start with this here, the POI surrounding type. It starts at the default here is hospital. We can set it wherever. So let's say this will be a shopping mall, for example. And let's say one of the other points of interest we've added, and actually before we do, let's select all these and add them to our folder AECI, and let's select these like so, right click, move to new folder, and let's call that POI. Now, let's select this point of interest, the first one we've made, and let's select, for example, to be a park. This is also a park, but let's give it a name. Let's call it park. And the first one we've just created, actually, the first one, let's keep it at school, for example. Actually, instead of school, let's set it to cafe because I love coffees. To make more sense, let's quickly add a building here and make it like a boxy, nice building. And let's say this will be our cafe, for example, right? And let's say this cafe, we want to make the mesh visible. So now I'm walking you through the details panel here so you get more familiar with it. It's also a nice idea to expand this a little. So let's say we don't want a custom mesh, and we want for this to be visible, and we want for this to cover this specific area. And let's reset the rotation because let's say our building is looking like this, and let's say the color is a color of coffee latte, whatever. So let's say this is the color, and if you want to copy the exact same location of the box, so select the box, shift right click, select the POI, shift left click, and that will set it in the exact center. So now I can copy these settings, and let's say now we have a full cube covering this area. Maybe we can make it slightly smaller. And again, here we can give it a title. So noise coffee, and description. Here we have the best coffee in the world. In terms of the icon, you can find many icons online, and I have these attached for you. So let's say if we have an icon of a cafe, I don't think we do for now. So I will look into that in the future, but let's go with the restaurant. So in terms of the thumbnail, let's say I don't have an image of a coffee. So let's select this sofa. And in terms of media, when it comes to gallery, we need to select pictures with a aspect ratio of 16:9. So I have some images as placeholders that I made, and let's see if I can find them. So these images here, let's add one, and let's add a second, like so. And let's give it a name, image one. And let's say this will think of this as coffee, okay? Tint color, let's give it a tint similar to this. So you can shift right click and shift left click to paste the color if you want to have the same color. And the camera, let's say I want the camera to be like this, okay? Now we're almost done. Let's say I'm going to add one more point of interest. So let's add that point of interest here. And let's say this one will also, instead of one of these, let's make our own category. So that's why I've added this. And let's say this will be a simple, nice tree, okay? And let's press Ctrl space and let's go to enums. So anytime you want to add lists to our systems, there is 90% chance you're going to find these lists under enums. So click here. Here you will find surroundings, and in the next lesson we're going to cover amenities. So this is also amenities. So if you click on surroundings, you're going to find these, and if you add an enum, so let's say this will be trees, okay? And let's save, and actually we should make all of these plural, and so it's parks instead of park, it's schools instead of school, it's cafes or coffee shops instead of cafe, hospitals instead of one hospital, and so on. Because the name of the list will appear on the top of the list, and it's not one element, it's many elements. So now click surroundings. As you can see, we have now parks, cafe with the S, hospitals, shopping mall. I forgot to add the category here. I got too excited. So let's select this and select trees. And now we should see our latest addition to the list, which is trees. So now if you click on any of these, we will teleport the camera nicely to that location. Okay? It's that simple. And of course, we will learn more about what this is. So right now, these, they don't have, we didn't name them, but we named some elements here. So here we've added an image for the thumbnail, and here we see our text, and here we also can see the gallery. So think of this as cafe. This is what we wrote. This is image one, and you get the idea. So yeah, that's regarding the customization. It's not complicated. So to recap, you can add any list you want. And by the way, similar to our system in the teleportation panels, if you want this category or any of these categories to be on the very top or the second or the third, you can customize that from here. So let's say I want trees to be on the very, very top at the very start here. All you need to do is to click and drag that to the very top. And then now when you click on play, bring your panels, here you can see trees. If I want trees to be after parks, then all I need to do is to set trees here, after parks here. And now when I click on play, I would go to surroundings. Here we see parks, then trees, and so on. So you get the idea. All right. Other elements or things to know of now. So right now, if you take a look here, so you can either make this large like this, and now the title 2D element, the screen element, will be on the top of our point of interest mesh here. So it was slightly on the floor, but now since we made the mesh bigger, this is now sitting on the top of the mesh. That's something to keep in mind. So it was here. Now if I set the scale here to 1, the 2D element will be here. So let's click. It's always sitting on the top of the mesh. If you want to adjust that, and if you want actually to adjust the visibility of the elements we see on the screen and the size and so on. So let's go very far. You can see this is now disappearing. And if you get close and close and close, the elements will start to appear now. Okay. So we can do all of that from the widget settings. First of all, we have height offset of the widget. So if I set this to 800 units and click on play, you will see that this is now above this element with 800 units. Just in case, if you want to do that, you can actually do that. So let's say we want to double it. So 1600 and click on play, click on surroundings, click on tree. You will see that this is now sitting on the top of the mesh with 1600 units. Okay. That's one. Two. First of all, let me reset this. We have the minimum, the widget visibility min distance and the max distance. So there is some sort of interpolation happening between the minimum and the maximum, and that's for the visibility or the opacity, if you will. So when we are close or when we are below this distance, and here we have the number 25,000 units, that is 25,000 centimeters, and or units in Unreal, and 45,000 units, which is 450 meters or 45,000 centimeters. So 1 unit in Unreal is 1 centimeter. I tried doing some things here, but I got too many bugs. So I will leave that for a future update. I wanted, for example, to set this to, let's say I want 250 meters instead of 25,000 centimeters. I got some bugs, unfortunately. So once I figure it out, I will have these to be set like to meters, kilometers, or feet system. Now, I'm going to show you here what I mean. So let's set the maximum distance. So I'm going to set this to 150, and let's say this will be like 2,500. Okay. Click on play and click on surroundings. Let's go to the park, sorry, the tree. You see now this is, the label is not visible, but if you get near and near and nearer, it will be small first. I don't know if you can see, it's way too small. And the more closer we get to the minimum distance, the bigger this will get. So of course, we should not set this to such a small value. So let's set it, for example, to 5,000. Okay, and let's set this to 15,000. Click on play, and that's the best way to figure out your distances. And let's go to our tree here. So if I go far now, beyond 15,000 units, this will get smaller and smaller until it totally disappears. Okay. And if I go far like a lot fast, it will also disappear fast. So there is some sort of interpolation for this to happen, as you can see here. Okay. So that's one. And basically that's it. So you just need to experiment with these to find the scale you like and the distance you like for how these will appear and disappear, as well as the offset. So in my demonstration level, you will find different points of interest with different settings on top of them to get an idea and to set your own settings. Now, something to keep in mind as well, for all points of interest, because of their material, the way it's made, if you are not able to select a point of interest, then press on T. So now this is like, let's say the default. I cannot select this. It's not even possible to select this. So press on T to toggle the selection of translucent objects. That's the shortcut. Now if you click, you will be able to select the point of interest. Okay? So to recap, you can add as many lists as you want, or you can add as many elements to the lists here, and the lists are dynamic. So if you add, by the way, more and more lists, if you like add more lists beyond the screen, you will have the ability to scroll between these on horizontal level. Keep that in mind. And you can arrange these lists by arranging the enumerations here. And you can edit the title, the description, the icon, the thumbnail, adding gallery. So if you have specific element, specific point of interest without thumbnail, without a gallery, the visibility of these elements will be collapsed. We will not see them. We will just see description, and the description you should always fill it. Add like, hey, this is a nice little tree, happy accident, Babras, all that good stuff. So here also, if you remember, we tinted the icon, and this is the icon tinted, and this is also the, what is it? The label itself is also tinted with a nice effect here. So that's something to keep in mind. And notice also, if you get too close from the point of interest, it will fade a little. So that's also by design, and it works also on these point of interests in the building here. So it works on all of them because they all share the same material. So if I get too close, they will fade away in terms of the material. As always, if you have any ideas, any suggestions, anything to make your life easier to set up these systems in your project, let me know and I will do my best. Thank you so much for watching. Stay hydrated, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.